Hello everyone, and welcome to This Week in Hell. A bit later than usual. Well, very late, I skipped 2 weeks. But first up today, book bans in public schools face federal dismissal and growing controversy. In a move that has sparked heated debate across the United States, the Trump administration has dismissed 11 complaints in relation to removing books from libraries. This decision has been met with both support and criticism from various factors, so covering all the bases there, as educators, parents, and advocacy groups fart out their opinions on the matter. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has championed the move, no surprise there, referred to the book banning in recent years as a hoax intended to lead to upset. True. It definitely was intended to lead to upset, but obviously not in the way he means. The book banning is very, very real. The current U.S. Department of Education echoes this sentiment, asserting that schools are merely removing age-inappropriate content to protect young students, highly debatable. However, PEN America has raised concerns over what they describe as a surge in book challenges and bans, particularly in Florida, where they number at least 4,000, with approximately 10,000 in the U.S. during the period of 23 to 2024. Casey Meehan, a spokesperson for PEN America, criticized DeSantis for using misleading tactics to create panic about educational materials, and downplay the legitimate concerns of educators and parents concerned about the censorship. Sally Bradshaw expressed support for libraries while comparing book banning as an unexpected issue in modern times, drawing parallels to historical bans such as those seen in Nazi Germany. This is just the beginning, and it will not be solved this year, or even in the next 4 years. I hate to say it, but people should be ready for a long fight on this, and any other issue they care about, as a path of chaos and destruction is being waged across America right now, and the only resolution will be to vote them out in the next election, although I'm sure they'll try to resist that too. So, for now, hunker down and fight the good fight, and good luck. Next up, Birthright Citizenship. In a new legal development, a second federal judge has ruled against President Trump's executive order seeking to end birthright citizenship for children born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants, or those present on a temporary basis. Judge Deborah Brodman of Maryland opined that the order was unconstitutional in her ruling, highlighting its contradiction to the 14th Amendment and over a century of Supreme Court precedents. The 14th Amendment, being ratified in 1868, granted citizenship to all those born or naturalized in the United States, including freed slaves. This comes as a result of a legal challenge filed by 5 pregnant women and 2 immigrants' rights organizations who argued that the order would cause irreparable harm by denying constitutional rights to children born in the U.S., despite arguments from the Trump administration about the need for clarity on citizenship. The injunction will remain in place while the case proceeds. The Trump ban, interestingly, does not work retroactively, just throwing it out there that his wife is an immigrant and his kids are the children of one. I'm sure that has nothing to do with that little stipulation. Next up, in showbiz news this week, Tom Welling continues to do everything he can to convince very stubborn Smallville fans that he is not and has never been Superman. He's made many attempts over the years, such as torpedoing the action-packed finale of his own TV show in favor of something less spandexy. The Smollett finale was essentially meant to be he becomes Superman in the second-to-last episode. This is what was originally planned. And then the final episode is just him establishing himself as Superman, like the final culmination of that 10-year-long journey. No. He wouldn't allow that. He's even gone as flat out saying he has never played Superman, so that's not my opinion, these are his own words. Anyway, all that's to say that Tom Welling was pulled over and arrested in an Arby's parking lot on Sunday the 26th of January and like the great hero that he is, he blew in excess of the 0.8 minimum required to win that game. I don't actually know what he blew, but he does have super breath, so it could have been quite high. Welling generally seems like a nice guy. I've never got the impression that he's a nasty person, but you can never be sure about anyone, really. And in spite of his severe cryptophobia about wearing superhero costumes, he seems fine. Always seems quite pleasant. I occasionally watch the Talkville podcast that he does with Michael Rosenbaum, and sometimes he's even on Rosenbaum's other podcast. He seems like a fairly... Okay, this is going to sound like a Superman joke, but it's not. But he seems like a fairly mild-mannered guy. So it is a little disappointing to hear him casually putting people's lives in danger rather than calling an Uber. Perhaps he wanted to avoid people like me hearing about it and calling him Ubermensch. So instead, now he's just more of a Poopermensch. Of course, Welling isn't the only member of the Smallville cast to get in legal trouble over the years. Sam Jones III was a little bit of bother while the show was on air, although he seems to be doing quite well now. John Schneider requested to actually go to jail in 2018 rather than pay his ex-wife alimony. He said to the judge, "I am willing and able to accept the punishment for my actions and inactions as of this matter, and I request the court impose such sentence without further delay." Well, it's clear he definitely wasn't still holding a candle for his ex then. I mean, imagine hating someone so much you would rather go to jail than pay the money you owe them. Of course, that wasn't the worst thing a Smallville cast member would ever do. Alison Mack... Oh, if you haven't heard of this, I'll quickly catch you up. Alison Mack is the only real criminal among that cast. Others have certainly had brushes with the law over the years, but generally petty things, well, apart from the DUI, which I consider very serious. No one was hurt, but, But Alison Mack is now a free woman. She did, 2 years in jail for being involved with the NXIVM cult and, quite frankly, brutalizing and heavily mistreating other women. But hey, she's free. Don't join a cult. All cult leaders are idiots. Except me. And finally, we have someone to say goodbye to. Now, before we wrap up, we're going to say goodbye to Marianne Faithfull. Marianne was a key figure of the renowned British invasion of the 1960s. You remember that time in the 1960s when we invaded the country? We did it through music, so you didn't seem to mind as much. She leaves behind a very strong musical legacy. She became known while playing coffee houses in the 1960s, and her debut single As Tears Go By was written by linchpins of the British music scene, Mick Jagger, with whom she once had a relationship, and Keith Richards. Not content with a successful music career, she branched out later into acting on stage and screen, even collaborating with Sofia Coppola in the film Marie Antoinette in 2006. Over her life, she wrote 3 autobiographies, all still available, I believe. Faithful, an autobiography in 1994, Memories, Dreams and Reflections in 2008, and Faithful, A Life on Record. See what you did there, in 2014. Marianne passed away in London on January 30th. She was 78. And that brings us to the end of This Week in Hell. I actually think those stories were for last week. I was planning to do one last week. Time got away with me. I've been a bit busy with various projects. In a good way. I've actually been enjoying the work I've been doing. But it does mean that you have to prioritize certain things. So I will probably skip next week. Then I'll try to get one prepped for the week after. I think that would be a sensible way to do it. But I hope you're all doing well. I hope we all keep doing well. At the moment, I'm kind of sort of okay, which is a good place to be. Kind of sort of okay. It's better than being kind of sort of not okay. But I hope you have a good week. I hope you have a good month. And I hope you all have a good year. And if you're not, I hope things are looking up for you soon. So until next time, thank you very much for watching, and take very good care of yourselves.